Okay, did everyone hear that? Recording in progress, okay? So here we go. I'm gonna start again and just tell you welcome. I'll start the slideshow again. All right, here we go. Hopefully they'll clean up the recording, huh? Can everybody see? All right, so now, elders, if there's an elder in the room, I need permission to speak. I am 64, so I might be the elder. If there's anyone that is older than myself, can you please give me permission to speak? All you have to say is, I give you permission to speak. You don't have to identify yourself. Wow, I'm the oldest in the room? Okay, so I asked.
Yes, you're the oldest.
Okay, I asked the ancestors to give me permission. So now, the next thing we do, come on here, slides aren't moving, is I have to give thanks to my recent ancestors, because that's what African people do. So these are my recent ancestors, and I give thanks to them. Next, I give thanks to my disciplined ancestors. These are the ancestors who actually worked in the same discipline as myself. And there is a recent living ancestor, Renoko Rashidi. He just recently made his transition to the ancestor land. So I give honor to him too. I acknowledge the land upon which I stand. I stand on the land of the Mwekma people. As an African person, I know my ancestors came here before. And when they came to this land, they came and they left. I know as an African person that my kidnapped ancestors, those that were human trafficked and enslaved, once free, some of them became Buffalo Soldiers, which Buffalo Soldiers did some good things, but they also helped to kill the people in the land. And so I come as this African, not the ones who engaged in the killing of the people of the land. So I acknowledge the land that I stand on, and the land I stand on is the Mwekma people. I bring to you greetings. I bring to you an Isikosa greeting, Molowini, a Setswana greeting, Dumalang, and a Isi Indibeli greeting, Sakubona. These are all South African women, and these are all South African greetings that say hello. But the isiZulu greeting, Sawubona, that is the one I resonate with. Sawubona means we see you. We being I, my ancestors, and those that will come after me. We all see you. Your response would be Yabo Sawubona, which is yes, we see you. So who am I? I am an African teacher. I view myself as a healer or an nganga. Muti means medicine. Muti is education. And I use this medicine to fight the disease of ignorance. So this is a virtual interactive webinar. So what does that mean? That means you are going to move and learn. So get ready to actively move and be comfortable with silence and be able to think and talk back to the screen. Sometimes I will ask you to unmute and talk back, so to me as well, and the others in the space. So the learning outcomes. So basically, there's three major outcomes. I'm gonna start with explaining to you what I call a tridemic is. This tridemic is the form of biological, sociological, and ideological pandemics. The next part, I am going to explain African Ubuntu Pedagogy, or AUP. That is an approach to teaching and learning that I conceived myself a couple of years ago. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about you and your critical role as an educator that you can play in creating humanizing learning spaces. So let's begin with part one. Part one is the tridemic. Again, it's biological, sociological, and ideological. So COVID's still here, y'all. There's an African proverb. It says, the child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel the warmth. I want you to think about that for a minute. The child who was not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel the warmth. So in 2020, we were in a syndemic. A syndemic is basically the outcomes from a pandemic. At that time, we had dual pandemics. We had the novel COVID-19 virus, and it affected the entire world. The word novel means new. And then here in the US, we've always had racism. I repeat, we have always had racism. Our country is built on it. We've always had what we call classic racism. But it became overt. Now, classic is, it was just dog whispers. Then the dogs started barking. And finally, during this time, the dogs started attacking. So that was the dual pandemic. Again, the novel COVID-19 and classic racism. And then it forced us into this space called remote learning, which is what we're right now in a remote setting. We falsely labeled people as essential workers, but guess what? These were survival workers. These people were going out working because they could not afford to stay home. The novel COVID-19 pandemic a year ago, guess this is what was going on. The indigenous people had the highest death rates in the nation. Now remember, we're standing on their land. We committed genocide against those people. The ones that are still alive, right? They had the highest death rate. And then, oh my goodness, my brown brothers and sisters, the Latinx people, because they had higher rates of poverty, less access to healthcare, and they were the essential workers that were really survival workers. And they lived in multi-generational households. So they were disproportionately impacted negatively by COVID-19. And then again, let's go back to these essential workers. They were people of color. And so they were disproportionately exposed to COVID-19. For example, the percentage, I think maybe like 10 or 15% of African Americans were able to stay at home during the pandemic. I was fortunate because I'm a professor, but guess what? The brown man that cleans my yard, he came every 2 weeks when everybody else was on lockdown. And so he had to do that to eat and to work. So again, 80% of African Americans don't have a job that allow them to do that. So what did we do a year ago? We were blaming the victims. Oh my goodness, it's Black and brown people's fault because they have obesity, hypertension, and diabetes. So when they went to the hospital, they got shamed. It's like, you should have done a better job taking care of yourself. Oh, and then my Pan-Asian brothers and sisters, they blame them just because you are Chinese. So they yelled at them and harassed them and called them a virus, right? And my poor brown people, my Latinx family, they couldn't speak English well. So if they did go to the hospital, they were told to go home and take an aspirin. And then the Navajo, the indigenous people, the sovereign people, they were just told, go back to your sovereign nation and try to figure it out. So blame the victim. That's what was going on. So again, this was the syndemic, and now it's evolved into what Nunley, me, I call a tridemic, right? And so now there's 3 things going on. So these kind of things, racism or bias, we against I, COVID, right? Then looky here. What the novel COVID-19 did, it caused death, distancing, vaccines, and masks. The sociological overt, because before it was covert, now it's in your face, it's barking at you. So that has allowed for family separations, inhumane hurting of people, blaming, and selective entry. The ideological pandemic, the divisive belief systems, has created all kind of issues. Democrats versus Republicans, stolen election, critical race theory, voter suppression. I'm a woman, not a womb. I'm praying that people get an abortion. Oh my God, white people are endangered. Oh, I'm not worried about COVID because God can protect me. All kind of things that are divisive. So politics, religion, control, and choice, all this even spilled into the classroom. And so we are currently living in a society where it is not only okay, but it's become expected that people no longer need to be civil toward one another. Instead, you can be physically aggressive, you can stalk people, you can violently attack them, you can elicit and vocally attempt to shame and intimidate those who do not share the same worldview as yourself. So now I'm going to stop sharing because it's time for you to get up and move. And I just said that we don't share the same worldviews. So what the heck is a worldview? So we're going to do that right now. So what I need you to do is make the shape of the world. So you make the shape of the world. World, right? Make the shape of the world and then act like you're looking out viewing, right? So you have a world view. Now there are 4 components to a worldview. The first one, touch your brain right here, touch here and make like a pistol, like you're shooting. This is called epistemology. Epistemology. Now take your hand and put it out. Act like your other hand is an axe. Axiology. Axiology. So the first is what? Epistemology. The next is axiology. Now, literally, you're standing planted on feet on the ground and you're going to jump. Ontology. So you're jumping on top of something. So first one is epistemology. Next is axiology. The third is ontology. And the last is cosmology. Cosmology. All right. So let's start from the beginning. There are 4 components to a world view. First component is what? Epistemology. Next component, axiology. Third component, ontology. Last component, cosmology. So the one that's got us in trouble is this one. What's that one? Axiology. So axiology means values, right? So we have different values. Oh, but because this is a teaching workshop, this one is a problem too. What's this? Epistemology. So epistemology is how you construct knowledge, okay? So have a seat. So you want to keep in mind axiology, right? Values, epistemology, the way we construct knowledge, all right? So now, let's go back to sharing my screen. Uh-oh, let's see, hold on. Has stopped, Okay, so now I need to go back again. Here we go. From current slide. Okay, so now let's talk about, remember I said I have a concept, an approach called African Ubuntu Pedagogy, or AUP, and it is about spirit teaching. So let's see what that's all about. Okay, we just did that. So these are the words in case you want to see what they look like: epistemology, axiology, ontology, and cosmology. And so our focus right now is going to be on epistemology. And epistemology is how we construct knowledge. Okay, so now there's these dudes, right? That we call them the fathers of the discipline. They are the grand means big. They're the grand theorists, right? They're the ones that's like, hey, this is how things are, right? And you may recognize some of the names. Freud, Erickson, Watson, Skinner, Pavlov, etc., Piaget. For those in early childhood education, Piaget is the father of our discipline. And here's John Bowlby. Oh, that's the attachment theory. Chess, Thomas, and Burge. That is temperament. And then Yuri Bronfenbrenner. Remember the microsystem, macrosystem. And then there's dynamic. This is epigenetics. This is where we're learning that it's not either one way or another. It's a collection. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and you get an eclectic view. So the Western grand theorists. Okay, everybody see these ladies? Remember these ladies, okay? And remember this photo. So now, these are our model children. This is what they look like, y'all. This is the model child. Now, these are their cousins. Again, let me go back. Model children, their cousins. Now, the original child was African, y'all. The 5% of the world's children that we studied were not the original. I mean, they weren't original, y'all. But yet we take those 5% children and we apply it to the other 95% of the world. Because guess what happened? The fathers of our discipline, who are now old dead white men, they studied their own children. They studied their own children. So guess what? That's not even what you call normal white people. How many white people do you know have fathers that are theorists and, that actually study them and then create theories? So we're not even talking about the average, quote, white person. But yet these men, these theorists, studied their kids and then created the theories on which we build our discipline. It wasn't just the men, though. There's also the mothers. Now, they also, the attachment theory, play, Montessori, all these, they also mothers of our discipline, but they were looking at the model children. So in the Western human developmental range, they go from the womb to the tomb. Everybody see that? Womb is prenatal, womb to the tomb. Okay. Now it's time to stand up again. Stand up again. And these are the words that you're going to say. You're going to say this one first. Everybody look at the screen. Psychoanalytical. Then you're going to say behaviorism. I'm going to help you. And then cognitive. Then we say ethology, ecology, dynamic. So these are the words we're going to say. Psychoanalytical, behaviorism, cognitive, ethology, ecology, dynamic. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. Now you should be standing up, right? Okay. So here we go. So Western, what is this? Western, what's that word? Epistemology, right? So Western epistemology has six views, okay? So Western epistemology has 6 views. Here's the first one. Psychoanalytical. Put your arm out. Psychoanalytical. The opposite, behaviorism. Then you take the two together and put, let me put my screen down. Cognitive. So we got psychoanalytical, behaviorism, cognitive. Next is ethology. I'm taking my hand and go ethology. The other side, ecology, dynamic. So let's do them again. So psychoanalytical, behaviorism, cognitive, ethology, ecology, dynamic. Those are the Western worldviews. Okay, so this is the way they believe. You ready? Do this with me. I am because I think. Again, they say, I am because I think. Last time, Western says, I am because I think. Okay, everybody got it? You can have a seat again. So the Western theoretical frameworks, their epistemological framing is Western in thinking. So let's see, what does that look like? So here we go. This is, hold on, let me, uh-oh, you guys can't see that yet, huh? Okay. So every time I stop, okay, I gotta start that over. Sorry about that. Okay, so from current slide. So again, here's the spelling if somebody was trying to write it down. So psychoanalytical, behaviorism, cognitive, ethology, ecology, dynamic. So, come on, move. Next slide. Western development says this, that there are 3 domains. Everybody look in the screen. Oh, you can't, hold on, let me see, I can make you so you can see me too. Okay, not sure how to, can you guys see me? Melissa, unmute, can you guys see
Yes,
me?
we can see you. It's just that it's minimized.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so look in the screen, the minimum screen. Everybody look so you can see me. So there's 3 developmental domains: psychosocial, biosocial, and cognitive. Western says they're not independent, they're interdependent. So they're not independent, they're interdependent. So Western developmental thinking says there's 3 domains: psychosocial, biosocial, and cognitive. They are not independent, they're interdependent. So now, the fathers of our discipline actually conceptualized racism. You should go find out what Sigmund Freud had to say about Black people. You should go find out what G. Stanley Hall, the father of adolescence, had to say about Black people. You would be surprised. I want you, that's your homework. Go find out what these people think about Black people. These are people who are our disciplined fathers. So now again, I have to remind you, the original child was African, not the 5% of the children that we studied and then built theories that we then applied to 95% of the world's children. So now, if you look at BIPOCs, these are Black, Indigenous people of color. This is the world, y'all. Look how colorful, from the darkest to the lightest. Do you see this? Oh, guess what? Shh, don't tell nobody. But Africa is a whole big old continent. It's not a country, okay? And guess what? The USA, it's not a continent. It's a nation, a country, and it fits inside the Sahara Desert in Africa, okay? Africa got 52 countries, y'all. But anyway, the big point here is look how colorful the world is. And so I don't call myself a minority. I am a global majority, because when I look at my color and the other people of color, it's a whole bunch of us. So I am a majority, not a minority. So BIPOCs are the biggest people in the world. And my Pan-Asian folks, they got the highest numbers, okay? So if you want to know who number 1 is, them as far as numbers, okay? So I subscribe to Dr. Asa Hilliard, and I am from his legacy. And Dr. Hilliard said this: many people do not know that African people for thousands of years have well-recorded deep thought and educational excellence, teaching and shaping the character is our strongest strength. So now, the oldest people in the whole world are the San people, sometimes called the Khoisan people, and they're in Dakar, Botswana, in Southern Africa. They got the oldest DNA, okay? So they got the oldest DNA, so they have their original children. Science, Genome Project, but guess what? They don't like to talk about that. So now, Nana Asa also says this, that we as African teachers and people place a premium on bringing students into the knowledge of themselves and the knowledge of their community. As African people and African teachers, we place great value on the identity of each person and their community, and we honor that family and the community. That's how African people, African deep thought, I'm not talking about today colonized Africa. I'm talking traditional pre-colonial Africa. That is the worldview that they had. Now, we believe African human development is not the same as Western. African, we believe that Black people are spirit beings having a human experience in a container called a human body. I'm going to repeat that. Spirit beings having a human experience in a container called a human body. So as an African people group, Africans are spirit beings. Repeating myself again. So now look at this. Let's take this figure. So if we imagine this is an African person, and the African person has spirit inside of them. The human body is just a container. So human body dies, the African person does not. So the Western worldview, I am because I think. Guess what? Brain dies, you die. Has nothing to do with anything else. It's just about the brain. You know how they say if you're brain dead, they unplug you? So see the difference, spirit beings versus human beings. So now it's time to stand up and move your body again. So this is what, let me give you the words. So not one, but two worlds, the visible and the invisible. Each person is connected to a single energy source that allows us to be in the past, the present, and the future all at the same time. So I am going to stop sharing. We're going to stand up and I'm going to give you the kinesthetic movements to that. So we ready? So cross up like Black Panther. Ichagalo. You know, come on, cross up, okay? So now, not one, but two worlds. Let's do it again. Cross up. So not one, but two worlds. Each person is connected. Okay, so I got to let somebody in here. So again, start from the beginning. Not one, but two worlds. Each person is connected to a single energy source. Move, come on, move that body, you energy, move it. Yes, yes. So let's start again. Not one, but two worlds. Each person is connected to a single energy source. Now, pretend these are my feet. Put your feet together flat on the floor, and then one goes back, then together and forward. So they're together, go back, together, forward. That's what my feet are going to do, okay? So let's start from each person's connected. Each person is connected to a single energy source that allows us to be in the, go back, in the past, the present, and the future. Let's do that part again. Put your feet together. You're in the past, the present, and the future, all at the same time. Remember, we used to wear watches? Okay, let's do it from the beginning again. So, not one, but two worlds. Oh, I forgot a piece. The visible and the invisible. Sorry about that, y'all. So it's the visible and the invisible. So let's start again. Not one, but two worlds. The visible and the invisible. Each person is connected to a single energy source that allows us to be in the past, the present, and the future, all at the same time. That is called Ubuntu. Can you say that? Ubuntu. So now,
Ubuntu.
very good, Ubuntu. So African Ubuntu says, I am, point to yourself, I am, find a spot on the screen and point to it, because you are. It says, I am, find a different spot on the screen, because you are. Last one, I am, now I need you to grab everybody in the screen, because we are. Let's do it again. So it's 3 times. African Ubuntu says, I am, because you are. It says, I am, because you are. It says, I am, because we are. Now, Western says this. Let's see if you remember. What does Western say? I am, because I think. Western says, I am, because I think. Western says, I am, because I think. Okay, have a seat. Okay, so let me go back to sharing. I'm gonna wear y'all out, huh? Okay, let's see, share. You guys can't see it again, right? Okay, now can you see it? Okay, back to share. Here's the words to that from current screen. Okay, so again, not one world, but two. Not one, but two worlds. The visible and the invisible. Each person is connected to a single energy source that allows us to be in the past, the present, and the future all at the same time. So now, in the different worldviews are different epistemologies, right? The African one sees the African person as not just these domains, but also as a spirit being. Remember, I talked about the 3 domains? European or Western just sees 3 domains: biosocial, psychosocial, and cognitive. So it's very different views of the world and of human development. So now again, African, I am because we are. European, I am because I think. So now the African woman has always known how to carry her babies and live life. I repeat, the African woman have always known how to carry her babies and live life. Do you remember how the women were carrying their babies earlier in the other picture? Somebody unmute and tell me, where were the babies?
In the front.
That's it. They were in the front, not in the back, right? So that is like really an interesting little nuance that it's important you understand. So let's talk about African Ubuntu or AUP. It's an approach, not a curriculum. A curriculum is like Montessori or anti-bias, racist. Those things are scripted. AUP is grounded in teaching and learning from an African worldview. It operationalized African deep thought as a praxis. Praxis is the way you practice. So to operationalize something is to put it into practice. So it is an approach. It is not a curriculum where it's like, okay, what do I do next? What do I do next? No, it's a way of being. So now, this is what it's saying. It's an approach. It's not anti-bias curriculum. It's not ABE. It's not creative curriculum, not Montessori, right? So now, let me tell you what it is. You don't have to stand up. So when it's operationalized, it is helping holy human hearts heal. It has purpose. It understands the sacred divineness of human beings. It is inclusive. It is inclusive. And it cares. It matters about the heart, and it understands that we need to heal because we are living in trauma. African people are I don't like the term trauma informed. I'm a Black person. I'm trauma lived. Okay. Nobody has to tell me a theory about the trauma. I'm trauma lived. So I don't call myself trauma informed. I'm trauma lived. Okay. So now, if you got the energy, get up, because you're supposed to get up and I'm gonna teach you this. If you got the energy, okay. So I'm gonna stop sharing. So if you got the energy, if you don't have the energy, just stay sitting down. Okay, so now African Ubuntu is this: helping, do your hands, so helping holy, humans, humans, hearts, heal, do healing. And I want your shoulders to try to touch, go in and heal. Let's do it again. So African Ubuntu has 5 H's. The first is helping, holy, humans, hearts, heal. One more time. African Ubuntu is helping, holy, humans, hearts, heal. Thank you. We are hurting, y'all. We are hurting so badly, right? Because of the tridemic I talked about. So let me go back to the slides. Oh, uh-oh. Again, you guys can't see. Okay. I'm starting to catch on, but I keep forgetting. So the first H in A up is helping, right? The next is what? Uh-oh. The next is holy.
Holy.
Right? See that student there, y'all? I need you to imagine that little devil that's driving you crazy. That's an angel, okay? It's about to get on your nerves. But see, if you just like look at that child and then imagine the wings and the halo, okay? Holy. And then humans, see? Because look, now that's supposed to be a black hand, white hand, all the hands, the whole world. It ain't just about black people. It's about everybody in the world. Lottie, Dottie, everybody, all humans. Hearts. Here's the heart, because that's the heart. It matters how people feel. It matters. And they need to heal. Look at that. Look at that baby. See, look at her thumbs up. It's like, yeah, we got this, right? Okay. So now, again, the 5 H's of A up is helping holy human hearts heal. So now, the African worldview says you cannot be human all by yourself. How do we prove that that's true? Well, not to offend anybody, but in case this is your position, I want you to just consider this. COVID is real, right? It's real. And let's say it's real. It's also deadly, right? And so if you go around, if you don't protect yourself and protect others, and then you go around others, you'll kill them all, right? Okay, then you're gonna be human all by yourself, okay? Then what, right? You kill everybody, then nobody can actually save you, right? So you can't be human all by yourself. That's what Ubuntu talks about. Now, if you want to go deeper, I wrote an article. It's in the Alternations Journal. It's an interdisciplinary article called Ngolo, Remembering the African American Child as Normative for Self-Healing. So that article is available. If you can't find it, you can email me. I think you probably could get it free. Yeah, I think my other one you have to pay for. But if you want this article, this talks more about Ngolo is self-healing power, okay? So now we move to part 3 of the workshop. We're getting there. Okay, now I'm going to focus on you. I'm going to focus on you because you claim you want to teach or you're actually teaching. So I need to let's look at you for a minute here. Now, I've already laid out why we're in a tridemic and everybody's hurting, y'all. And so when people are hurting, these are the things that happen when you react to stress, right? Now, maybe you can't see this stuff, right? You don't notice because you're busy teaching, right? But these things are going on physiologically, okay? Now, if the bladder relaxes and the student pee on themselves, you know that one, right? Yeah, you can see that one, right? But there's some other things that you can't see. You can see hands trembling, but you don't know that the stomach is slowing down. And you might see fast breathing. You may not realize, ain't nobody listening to you no more. Straight up, it's like I'm focused on this fear of what's going on. So now, I am blessed that I was able to have a Sankofa experience to go back and fetch that from the past and bring it forward. And some of the stuff I wasn't trying to hear, because you know how old people, their breath stink. My breath stinks sometimes, right? But I understand the preciousness, the precious gift of the elders. These are Khoisan people too. I got one of these bracelets, y'all. These people are so cool. I mean, they're so, but they're little and short. It's interesting. But anyway, all right, I digress. Okay, so now I had a Sankofa experience. I got to go back and fetch that which is valuable from our past, right? And guess what? When I say our past, I'm not just talking Africans. Everybody came from Africa, y'all. Lade, dade, everybody, right? So our past is everybody's past. And so this is the Sankofa bird, right? And this is this Ndinkra symbol, that's Sankofa. So if we were, wait, anybody got the, no, we don't have time to stand up because I'm gonna get to the other stuff. Okay, so I was gonna show you how to make Sankofa. It's really cool. But anyway, so let me show you that again, the epistemological knowledge that you know that you're gonna learn in school and that they keep teaching is from white scholars. And it's very limited, y'all. It doesn't include African deep thought. It's trying to get there, but it ain't there, y'all. And it is not going to work because, well, it's going to have limited efficacy. Because first of all, people who thought of it, they weren't talking about you because you're not human anyway. So that's problematic right there. Okay, so now let's look at it. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Okay, look at this. Now Maslow, he tried to clean it up before he left, but this has been debunked, y'all. You need more than you need food. African people know you need each other, Ubuntu. So saying feed somebody, that's not enough, y'all. That is not enough. So now I'm fat, full, and miserable, trying to shoot up everybody, doing all kind of crazy stuff, right? So we need each other. So even another white person, Harry Harlow, debunked this. It's like, no, the main need is belongingness and love. That belongs at the bottom. And this self-actualized self, it ain't about self, it's other people. I'm at the top now, hey, I'm here, but it's about other people. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's been debunked by Western theorists, but it's also not African. So now let's talk about attachment and attunement. Okay, the attachment theory, okay, Bowlby, when they talk about trauma, they talk about it being based in the attachment theory. Africans came here attached, y'all. I ain't got to learn how to attach. Remember in the beginning, I said, Sa'ubona, we see you, my ancestors, me, and those that come after me. I'm already connected because I'm African. So we don't believe that you have to learn how to attach. You're attached. You're already a part of something. And what's very interesting, if you really want to go deep, Mary Ainsworth, when she did her strange situation, she went to Africans, woo woo. She learned from African children what it looks like. So just sidebar. Okay, now this attunement thing. Okay, now they say this dude named Lloyd Arthur Meekler in 1929, he figured out attunement. And he said, oh my goodness, like, oh, it's how you attune with people. Well, you know what, again, Africans, what have you ever heard some of the young men, feel me, right? They're like, feel me, they're it's like, we already know how to attune with each other and feel each other. That's why it's so, when we see George Floyd, we feel like that's us. When we see things like, it feels like it's us. We are so human. We're already attuned. And now one could say, do you really want to be attuning with people that don't like you, that consider you less than human? What we do when we learn attunement in the Western schools, they're teaching you attunement to control, not to really, really share and humanize. So attunement, y'all, is a problem too. It's not African. It's trying to move there, but it's really not. See, it says spiritual, because remember, in Western, we have the 3 domains: biosocial, psychosocial, and cognitive. They don't even do spirit, okay? So now, attachment and attunement. I already did this with you, right? So we're already attached as Africans, and if we attune, we're already attuned with you, and we're not trying to control you. So now, emotional intelligence by Goldman. This also is limited thought. It's not the original African thought. We say, yes, there's multiple intelligence, but spirit is missing, y'all. Spirit. We even have this thing where you weigh your heart on a feather to see if the scale is right. But the multiple intelligences miss the spirit, which is the base. So even that's not good enough. Okay, so now let's go to the polyvagal theory. That's a new one. So Stephen Porges is like, oh, this is so cool. He's talking about the social engagement thing. African people, and boom, we already engaged, we already social, we already people. And according to his theory, what happens is you engage with other people, then you feel calm, you're calmer. We already knew that. So again, and he's saying this is like a higher level thinking. So the polyvagal theory, that's not there either. And then post-traumatic growth, oh my goodness, PTG. So we already know what didn't kill you made you stronger. My ancestors were on a slave ship, y'all. They got captured. I am one of the survivors. So you must know we grow. Look, here I am sitting here, Dr. Nunley from captured people. And so all the trauma that Black people have been through, and I'm still standing here as Dr. Nunley. So we already know about that post-traumatic growth. So that's not new, y'all. But again, they say Lawrence G. Caldwell, it's new, it's cutting edge, and it's drawn from ancient sources. It's African, but they're not saying that. Oh, and then this one right here just upsets me to no end. Earthing or grounding in 1998 by Ober. This man, he said, oh my goodness, there's electrons that move freely between the earth and the grounded and the human body. And so he's like, wow, take off your shoes and connect to the earth. We know that. We know that. And then when you do, look at all the good things that happen. They call it earthing or grounding. And it was just discovered in 1998, right? And then mindfulness. Another thing, it's not all the way, it wants you to be in the present. In the present, guess what, y'all? The present, from an African worldview, you're ignoring the past and the future. It's actually a pretty selfish concept. Does everybody know? Because it's like you're focusing like just right here and right now. And it seems like it's a good thing. It is not African though. So again, what has happened to, now I'm talking to the African American mothers right now, but apply this to yourself too. All of a sudden, when schools got closed, oh my God, mothers were so frustrated. These were the original mothers. You done forgot how to raise children. You got frustrated. It's like, oh my God, please, please open the schools. And these same women, their ancestors took care of everybody's children. Everybody's children, but now you forgot how to raise your own. So this is a test. This is called an African sling. What is wrong with these images? Look at these images. Somebody, what's wrong with these? This is called an African sling.
They're holding their babies at the front of their bodies.
Yes, that's not the African way, right? So the first mothers need to remember. They need to remember, okay? So now, does everybody understand why I'm saying everybody needs to go back to that? Because guess what? The San Francisco Bay Area is similar to the world. It is so diverse, y'all. White children are the minority in many of the public education classrooms. So if that's the case, why are we only looking narrowly at one epistemological way of constructing knowledge and one worldview, right? Oh, wrong direction. So this is the other article and that I wrote, and I'm actually saying that in the Western early childhood programs to serve Black children, they're doing spirit molestation. Now, what's her name? Bettina Love said that they're doing spirit murder. You can't murder a spirit, y'all. You cannot destroy energy. So it's molesting, you can mess with, but you can't destroy a spirit. And so that's why I said, no, it's not spirit murder, it's spirit molestation. So this is another article, but I think you have to pay for this one. But if anybody wants it, let me know and I can get it to you. So now, African people, each child is a living son, a divine gift of the Creator. Now I'm gonna have to go fast. The classroom is the public education. Classroom reflects society. Look at all the things in the USA, all the dehumanizing behaviors, eugenics, the way they act at the border, chattel slavery, how they want to control the Black body. These are all the Black, brown, and other bodies of color. And now my Pan-Asian, they want to control them too. So we have a history of dehumanizing behavior. So what do you bring to the classroom, or what will you bring? How you walking in the world? Does it matter? Yes, it matters. Yes, it matters, because you're teaching young children, you're shaping their minds and their thoughts. So it really, really matters. And so let me stop sharing because of time. Let me say this. I'm going to tell you what Dr. Wade Nobles, who's one of my Babas, what he said, and also Dr. Lawford Goddard. Let me tell you what they said to me. Because Asa Hilliard says this: the African teacher or spirit teacher, you got to get the highest degree possible. I got the highest degree. I'm a doctor, right? Doctor of education. So I was like all proud of myself. Hey. So I go to my meeting with my Babas, and know what they told me? Patricia, I don't care what them white people told you. You ain't ready to be operating on the Black community. So what they were telling me is like, what you know is so limited. And guess what? It ain't gonna work no way. So they said I needed to go and learn about deep African thought. And Baba Wade told me this. He said, Patricia, when you go, because I used to teach at Mills College, and I taught, and at Mills College, that was mostly white feminists who were basically they wanted to come and teach the poor people of color, right? All the come into the classroom. Many of them lived in the suburbs. I'm the first Black professor they ever had, scared them to death, right? And they don't have children. They don't know much about anything, but it's like, I'm coming to save you. I'm coming to save you, right? So what he told me I needed to do, he told me I need to make sure, and the same thing, Dr. Cornell West, when I met him, he used to call me Dr. Mills, right? They said, Patricia, what you do is you have to teach white teachers to do less harm. Teach white teachers to do less harm. But Baba Wade said, what do I have to teach? Black teachers? No harm. Brown teachers? No harm. Because guess what? When you treat children of color wrongly, you look like they mamas, they aunties, they grandmas. At least when a white teacher does it, you can say, oh, she don't understand me anyway. But if you look like children of color and you are doing harm, you are wrong. And you need to go make hamburgers. You need to go do something else, because don't make that much money. Do something else. Children are not sandwiches that you make the sandwich wrong and you could just throw it away and start all over. You're doing serious damage. What children of color need to know, they are not inferior. Children of color need to know they are not inferior. But guess what? If you think you're inferior, you're going to pass that on to them. You're a social mirror. What do white children need to learn? They are not superior. The white child needs to know they're not superior, because guess what? When they come sit in Dr. Nunley's class, they're going to be all confused. It's like, oh my God, who is this person, right? So the child of color needs to learn they are not inferior. The white child needs to learn they are not superior. My person for the discipline is not Piaget. No, it is Insaminat. And Insaminat, A.B. Insaminat says, guess what? Biodiversity is okay. You can be Black, white, brown, what, it's okay. The African way of being is not racism. It's inclusive of everybody. It's okay that you, remember in Black Panther, remember the Jabari tribe, right? Everybody, they were different. And when it's like, okay, I don't like you no more, I'm gonna go live up in the hills, right? You don't kill each other. And if you remember in Black Panther, there was the fight to see who was gonna rule all of Wakanda. Remember, he said, give so you don't give in, so you can go rule again, right? And take your people. Guess what? He didn't fight to the death. And who actually got to come back and save Wakanda? The point is this: the African way of being, it accepts everyone, everyone's differences. Our Western theory does not. It tries to take people and put them in a box of who they are not naturally. That's painful, that's harmful, that's horrible. If you are going to get the most out of all students, even white students, we have to learn how to be human. We have to learn how to be human, how to care. We have to learn how to be helping, holy humans, hearts heal, because they are hurting now, y'all. And I think it's going to get worse. And so 4 o'clock, it's over. Yep. I'm sorry. You guys didn't have any time to ask questions. I am so sorry. But I probably have to stop the recording now too. So thank you for bearing with me. Let's see. How do we stop the recording? Or do I keep it going?
Thank you. Thank you. This was an awesome talk.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
I guess if anybody wants to stay with some questions, I don't have a class for a minute, so I can answer questions, but it is 4 o'clock. And so if you're trying to go someplace else, wait, snap. Oh, goodness. Okay. I think everybody put your name in the chat so you can get credit. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Oh boy. How do we do that? Put your name in. Hey, Ramona, Dr. Coates, help me out. Do I take a screenshot? What do I do? Come on, where's the other professors? Because, because it's like, I forgot.
Can we have your email? And then we
Yeah.
can email you. And
Yeah, you can, but I'm like, wow, something.
Yeah,
I'm supposed to
put the
do.
name in the chat. That works. And
Okay.
then save the chat, Dr. P.
Okay. So, but yeah, did anybody leave and they're not going to get credit? I just have to believe them. Okay. So ccsf.edu. Okay, so there's my thing. Yeah, wow. Only me would forget to do that. Okay, so all right. Do we have any questions or anything? Just otherwise we just like say deuces. Oh, look at Maria's screen. Hey, we're doing it for Maria's baby, y'all. Because guess what? You are teaching the future, right? All this mess right now, you have the opportunity. The younger the child is that you're teaching, the more you can correct courses for us. And we can make sure Maria's baby, everybody wave, hey, that Maria's baby lives in a world that's not crazy and goofy where parents are fighting in the
just one
classroom.
thing. I would love to read your articles. How can I get them?
Send me an email. You know what? Just Google. I think I put them free. Google my name, Dr. Patricia Nunley, articles. And if you can't get it that way, I can send it to you.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Patricia Flores. So
hey, you know what?
I wrote down my email.
And guess what, Patricia? Patricia in I don't know what language, it means noble. So we're the noble folks. Hey, my other,
I like that.
yeah. I can't remember the language, but it means noble. Yeah. So
probably the Romans.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Probably so.
Thank you so much. I have to go, but thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything want to say or anything? So thank you for sticking in here, hanging in there, right? Sorry we didn't do all the movements because I'll have you like out of breath, okay?
Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. You too. Bye, everyone. So it looks like I could end for everyone, right? Bye. Everybody, you got your names in the chat.
I do have a question, actually.
Oh, go ahead.
And I put it in the chat, and I.
Oh, I couldn't even pay attention to it.
Yeah, it's okay. I was wondering if you're familiar with Jack D. Forbes, the late Jack D. Forbes' work on Wetiko, and.
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
Oh my goodness. Oh, there's such a rich conversation.
Put the name, keep talking, but put it in the chat so I could read the work. So go ahead.
Okay.
Right. So
Dr. Jack D. Forbes. He passed away about 2014 or so. Anyway, he was a earlier than that. Anyway, Native American professor, and he had written extensively on his flagship book on this concept of Wetiko, which is actually the Cree word for the it's an entity. It's a non-physical entity. It can take physical form. It can take over and possess people
Mm,
and make them into a kind of cannibal or vampire.
wow.
Yeah, it's a scary concept. And, you know, but we have the Cree and other native peoples to thank for this concept that they embodied in this word called
So Wetiko,
Wetiko. Yes.
you know what? It's interesting because let me try to talk up over Maria's child. So one of my babas said that what we see that's happening in the US, remember January 6th?
Yes.
Okay, so he said that the people that were leading, they're having a psychotic break.
Oh, that sounds about right. Yes,
and they
because
just
he
have
called it
lost their
Wetiko
mind.
psychosis.
Yeah, they've lost their mind. But guess where it's coming from? Well, I'm gonna, because I always have to think kindly of people. I had a student in my class and we were talking, and she's white female, and she got really emotional. And she said, Dr. Nunley, my father says all those kind of horrible things, right? And she felt so bad, Wendy. And I said, sweetheart, you know what? Let's think about this from a place of love. Your father is probably so afraid that people who look like you and him, that whole white replacement theory, let's say it's coming from a place of love. And he's worried that, oh my goodness, people are going to come after you and do horrible things to you, because he knows the history. And so he's concerned and he's trying to keep you safe, as opposed to he's just, you know, a horrible person. And so, yeah, if we think of everybody, even the humans that are trying to harm us as humans, and try to understand, and even when we understand what they're doing, it does not mean that they should be allowed to do it, or it does not mean you might not have to do things. Of
course. Yes.
Yeah.
You have to protect yourself. So
Yeah.
reasonable measures to protect yourself. Yes.
Yeah. And that's